Welcome back to the programme. Now, if you're someone at work who sends out emails asking for blue sky thinking or says let's touch base when you really mean let's meet, then prepare to be embarrassed, because a new survey in the UK has just come up with a list of the most annoying office jargon. It drives people nuts all over the world. Have a look at this video first of all of a proposal corporate style.
As you know, we've synergised effectively since FY13. We have met all our emotional KPIs and lately achieved best practice in the bedroom. We have blue skied, streamlined, spitballed and actualised our core values in order to roll them out in real terms in and around the coalface. But going forward, I think we have a real opportunity to create a robust and sustainable narrative together.
Oh my God, Brad.
Jacinta, will you merge with me?
That is a very commercial offer. Let me marinate your value proposition and revert back to you by close of play.
Fantastic stuff. Now with me is the author of today's report about jargon, Mark Di-Toro, who's a career expert for a jobs website, Glassdoor. We also have the makers of that fabulous bit of video we were watching, Gabrielle Dolan from Jargon Free Fridays, joining us live there from Melbourne. Oh my goodness, Gabrielle. I mean, where do you start with this? What are your pet hates?
One of my pet sayings is customer value proposition or employee value proposition that we then reduce to CVP or EVP. So it's just quite lazy, isn't it?
And it's everywhere, isn't it? It's absolutely rampant.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and we come up with jargon words that don't even need it, like close of play. I mean, we say close of play instead of end of day, and you know, I'll marinate and revert back instead of I'll think about that and get back to you.
Mark, let me bring you in because you compiled this list, and I was going through it. I mean, it makes you laugh actually going through and actually seeing how many of the ones that you actually use in your daily life. But I mean, what are your pet hates? Which are the ones that you think, why are you saying that?
Well, there are a couple I don't like so much. We're going on a journey, which I think, you know, going on a journey is a train ride, or going on a plane. It's not a campaign which takes 3 months. That's just inefficient working, you know. But, and punch a puppy, I have to admit, is one of my favourites, which essentially means doing something bad in the workplace for the greater good.
Do you know, there are quite a few I recognise and understand the meaning of. That was one I didn't, and there are a few like that, aren't there? What's the peel the onion? I was sort of confused what that meant.
Peel the onion, there's a few. So basically just let's take down the layers of this campaign or of this issue and take each issue time by time and place by place. There are things like fort showers. I mean that could mean absolutely anything. But essentially it's a meeting to share ideas with your employees and see what you come up with.
Where has this stuff come from? Have you been able to work that out? I mean, you've compiled the list, but where is this all being developed? Because there's a lot of sporting themes, bizarrely, in this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think because they're easy to remember and associate with, but this came from a survey, so we gave 2,000 UK employees a range of office jargon phrases. But I think the reality is, I mean, I work for a San Fran-based company, and a lot of these do come from America, I must admit, especially things like run it up the flagpole and a mission statement and blue sky thinking. And, you know, we're human beings, so we like to copy and adapt to sometimes think we make ourselves sound more intelligent, but I don't think we do.
Do you know, that's exactly what I was going to ask Gabrielle, because I mean, you look at this all of the time. Do you think that's the bottom line here, is that people are saying these things to make them appear cleverer?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, and I think we hide behind that jargon. So we hear it from the top down normally, and a lot of people don't want to say what does that mean, so they just start using it, and then everyone starts using it and copying each other. And I agree. I think it comes sort of from America, and it comes from a lot of the professional service firms that introduce this language, I think, to make them look like they're you know, more intelligent, and we just follow suit.
And like a sort of sheep herd, all the rest of us follow. I mean, you talk to companies, you talk to CEOs. What do you actually say to them?
What I say to them is simple. It's every time we use jargon, we actually are disconnecting and we're isolating people. And as their role as CEO, as senior leaders, their job is to communicate in a way that actually engages and connects with people. So we need to move away from the default language of using jargon and just talk in a way that's more genuine.
And in those conversations, I mean, you post these videos, have you seen any sort of change? Because it's difficult to spot it from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, look, there is some change. I think the whole concept of the videos and the whole concept of jargon-free Fridays was to take a bit of a fun approach to, a serious business issue. So there is certainly acknowledgement that we do it, and it's, it's hard not to, because we could be saying words that we think aren't jargon, but they're jargon to someone else. So in fairness, it is hard to give up, and that's the whole concept of jargon-free Fridays. Like any addiction we have, let's just take it one day at a time and see if we could take up the challenge to not use jargon on Fridays.
Well, Mark, I mean, you've compiled this list, but this story more or less comes around every year or so, or 2 years, and it simply doesn't get any better. It doesn't disappear, does it? People aren't necessarily massively embarrassed.
No, they're not, and I think it's that human culture where we sort of, using this language reinforces us as a group sometimes when you're in the workplace. But, we've compiled this list now. We know that touch base, blue sky thinking, we're on a journey. They're the top 3. So perhaps we should look at this now and identify them and go, right, well, let's just try and stop using some of those. And, why are people using 3 or 4 words to explain something when one would do the job?
Going back to Gabrielle, I mean, in terms of those conversations, when you say to companies, try to cut this out for one day, what are you saying? It just totally across the board, in those meetings, everything they put out in emails, everything they say in those board meetings, none of it creeps in?
Well, that would be very hard, but it's almost the same suggestion Mark just said, is it's up to you. You pick a word that you overuse and try to eliminate that from your vocab or your emails that you write. Try to eliminate just one word. It really is about raising awareness and making people realise how often we say it and the impact it's having on the people that are listening, because a lot of the time they're not understanding what they're saying, and these words are saying nothing. The other thing we often do is add isation, the phrase isation to the end of words. We have visualization and operationalization, strategization, and it just complicates things unnecessary.
Well, listen, Gabrielle, Mark, we've run out of time, but thanks so much. Do you know the one that's crept in here in the newsroom? Instead of phoning people up or emailing saying, come on the programme, we now keep saying to people, we're reaching out to this guest or that guest. So I'm glad we reached out, both to you there, Gabrielle in Melbourne, and to you, Mark, here in the studio. Thanks so much for joining us on today's programme.